What's going on, all you minties? Uncanny Omar here from Near Mint Condition, the home of collected editions. And today I get to talk about my top 30 most anticipated collected editions coming out in 2022. So let's get started. And welcome back, everybody. This is one of my favorite videos I do every year. And last year and the year before that, I tried to limit myself to like top 10. Last year I was crazy and I was like, you know what, I'm just going to talk about all the books I'm excited for. Kind of went a little overboard. So I like to limit myself. So this time around we're doing top 30. Not top 10, not top 20. Why top 30? Why the hell not? That's all I've got. Yeah, why not? Why not? Let's just, I guess my channels, I set the rules and I don't know why I limit myself, but it's good though. You know, you got to limit yourself. Otherwise, you're talking about every book you're excited for. And there's a lot that I'm excited for. So in here, you're going to see a series of omnis, both from Marvel and DC. Some absolute editions, some manga, some hardcovers, some independent stuff, Image, Dark Horse. Just to kind of give you a heads up as to what kind of books you're going to be seeing here. The big important thing, though, is that some of these books, the dates might change. I always stress how important that is because they might slide off into later on in the year, or knock on wood, maybe even next year. Now, this isn't everything. We don't have the final catalog for DC Comics. I have the final catalog for Marvel, but I haven't announced those books yet. And are there a couple of books on that list that would have made it here that I haven't announced? Yes, absolutely. Are they X-related? X-Men related? Yes, they're X-Men related. Of course they're X-Men related. But can't say anything yet. Just make sure you're subscribed to the channel so you know where you get your breaking news. Okay. Anything else? Yes! Smash that like button, please. That goes a long way for us and our channel. And it's a very small thing you can do. Check out our Patreon, Spread Shop. Phenomenal ways to support the channel. You can pick up stickers and put our logos on t-shirts. We have new designs coming out this year of just t-shirt designs. All right, let's go ahead and start the list. Kicking off the list is Immortal Iron Fist and Immortal Weapons Omnibus. So this is one of the books that Marvel is releasing that they're expanding on. It's amazing that they actually listened when you know, you're like, okay, yeah, you're reprinting this Ed Brubaker and Matt Fraction book, but is there any way to expand it and make it more complete? So yes, it is more complete, and it does include the Immortal Weapons story in here. Everything from that particular era of Iron Fist. And of course, you got artwork by David Aja. So I'm very excited to see this expanded book. This one coming out in February. And you're going to see some of these when I do my top 10 every month. When I do my top 10 collected editions, essential reads or must-buys. Number 2 on the list is Batman the Dark Knight Detective, Volume 7. Dennis O'Neil, Jim Aparo, say no more. That was my childhood growing up. That was my Batman, and this collects Batman 474, Legends of the Dark Knight 27, Detective Comics 634 to 638, Detective Comics 641. So that crossover is in the other, Cape Crusader Volume 6, I believe, and Detective Comics Annual Number 4. I'm not going to go through all of the content because I've done that all the time I do that, but if it calls for the content, I will talk a little bit about it. Bitterroot Omnibus is coming out. I am so excited about that. I've talked about how that's one of my favorite hidden gems for Image Comics. That one is coming out in February. David Walker, Chuck Brown, Sanford Green, this 15 issues plus the Red Summer Special. If you've not read it, now is your chance to get it. I don't know the dimensions of the book. Some of these, by the way, that I'm going to be talking about today don't even have covers, but that cover's killer. It's $59.99. I assume it's going to be a library edition book, but I'm not sure. From Viz Comics, we have Mermaid Scales and Town Sand. So this is one that caught my attention at the end of last year when I saw the picture. It's just something about that. This is by Yoko Komori, printed by Viz or translated by Viz here in America. And it's just about a young girl that moves to a town and is having a hard time making friends and makes friends with a merman. Studio Ghibli vibes and young girl. You know, I have 2 daughters, so things like that really speak to me. It looks like it's going to be oversized, though, based on the price, which is $19.99. Moon Knight, Mark Spector Omnibus, baby. My Moon Knight that I grew up with. I love and respect the classic stuff, the Doug Moench, Bill Sienkiewicz stuff. But this is Chuck Dixon, this is Carl Potts, and Sal Velluto, just one of the artists on here. And oh my gosh, I love this era of Moon Knight. Plus, it collects the Round Robin story arc. And Moon Knight 1 through 34 and annual number 2 of Punisher. So you have some Carl Potts stuff in here. And I'm so excited for this one. There should be 2 volumes. I guess if this one sells well enough, we'll get a volume 2 of this era, which will have, of course, everybody's favorite, well, most of us that grew up in the 90s, Stephen Platt taking over the book. We had that Todd McFarlane crazy style, but oh man, I remember seeing that cover. Hopefully that will be in volume 2. Snow Angels Library Edition. This is another library edition that Dark Horse is putting out. It is by Jeff Lemire, and Jock is the artist on this one. I've done an overview of volumes 1 and 2. I fell in love with it. It's about this alternate future or possible reality where people live on a trench and you can never leave the trench. The trench feeds you, and then the trench never ends. Those are the rules you abide by. Well, group of girls and their dad break the rules. Savage Avengers by Gerry Duggan Omnibus. Oh my gosh, yes. This is a tough one to say why I'm excited for, because there's a small chance that this stuff will probably not be reprinted by Marvel, or anyone really, because of the character of Conan. So this might be the only chance to get it. You know, there are trade paperbacks, of course, and actually they reprinted a couple of those trade paperbacks, so if you're looking for that route, go for it. But this is everything that Gerry Duggan did, Mike Deodato. There's even the collection of the Uncanny X-Men 190 to 191. I love that story. That's by Chris Claremont and John Romita Jr. And that will be, or no, that was in the 4th Omnibus. So you already have that in Uncanny X-Men. But I just love that storyline. But yes, because it features the character of Conan hanging out with the Punisher, hanging out with Wolverine, Venom, and all these characters, Deadpool. And now because that character is over at Titan, odds of this getting reprinted are very slim. But I'm not sure. Street Fighter Origins Sagat. Yes. Anytime Udon releases any of these hardcover books, I can't wait for. Not sure if you can see them, but they're all down here. I love, those are some of my favorite hardcovers. You have Darkstalkers. They've only done one, and then you had Street Fighter versus Darkstalkers. But the Street Fighter line, I love putting them in chronological order. Just some of my favorite books, and I'm glad they learned their lesson and they're coming out in hardcover format. So if you've not had a chance to check them out, beautiful artwork. And if you're a fan of the video games, that's the kind of stories you're going to see in here. Don't expect War and Peace and things like that. It's just pure fun. Next up on the list, of course, Spider-Man 2099. How could I leave that out? One of my most anticipated books of the year, of last year. Okay, one thing I forgot to mention is that I do this twice a year. I do it at the beginning of the year, and then because the catalogs aren't finished, I do it about June or July. I'm going to try to do it around June this time around. And it wasn't in the catalog yet. I hadn't announced it, but then it got into the catalog, and then it kept getting delayed, and sadly it slipped into April of this year, but finally coming out. Spider-Man 2099. It's one of my most wanted Marvel Omnis for years, collecting the entirety of his run on there. And people, ask me, what are the chances of getting a second volume, because he came back to the character? What are the chances of adding, more to this? I mean, the book is already huge. It's 1,384 pages. There was no way they were going to add 12 issues and then 15 issues. So who knows? I mean, depending on the sales of this one, we might get a second one. Batman Spawn, the Deluxe Edition. Yes, I realize people were upset when they released Batman Spawn, the standard size hardcover. This one collects both of the 1994's one-shot and the 2022 Batman Spawn one-shot. So it does have more, and it's in Deluxe Edition. $29.99. Yeah, it's kind of weird that DC did that, because it was released at the end of last year, the tail end of last year, and now this one is right around the corner. Usually they wait about a year or so, but this is April. Turnaround time is faster than what I thought DC was doing, but it is Spawn and it is Batman, so odds are it was going to sell. The Sandman Mystery Theater, Compendium Volume 1. Now, I realize that's not an omnibus, and I know it's one of my most wanted omnis, and this is the home of collected editions, though, so I'm okay with it being a compendium. Hopefully it's a start, and to have it in a more complete format, I'm okay with that. There are a lot of stories in here that have, I think, they discontinued the line of Sandman Mystery Theater, so it would be Volume 2 that some of those stories have never been collected. And there's so many of my viewers that have never read this. Now, before you go into this and read it, don't expect Neil Gaiman's Sandman. That's not what you'll get here. This is more of a noirish, a throwback to that golden age Wesley Dodd Sandman, the guy that wears the mask and shoots the gun that puts you to sleep. Not sleep forever, but like sleep. Like, I don't know why I snored. Sorry about that. That type of Sandman. It's his character that you're reading about. Does it dabble in a little bit? What am I doing with my hands? Does it dabble in a little bit of Neil Gaiman's Sandman with Morpheus? A little, but not a lot. Don't expect the Endless to show up here. Don't expect this to be the mind-blowing story that was Neil Gaiman's Sandman. But this is a damn good story that should not be missed. I just went from a good story that should not be missed, but I don't care. It's my list. Toilet Bound Hanako-Kun First Stall graphic novel box set. It's a box set of a bathroom stall. That's awesome. This is $100 and it features the first 10 volumes published by Yen Press. I love Yen Press's box sets. Yes, I'm going to do a top 10 favorite manga box sets on my channel. And I love Viz, and I love what Kodansha's doing, and I'm glad that more and more publishers are putting out box sets of manga. But my goodness, the way that they did the Pandora Hearts box set was beautiful, and I cannot wait for this one. I have a date of May 24th, but that might slip into later on down the year. So bear that in mind. Yes, we went from Sandman Mystery Theater to Toilet Bound Hanako. That's how we roll on Near Mint Condition. Absolute Batman 3 Jokers. And I know what you're thinking. What a ripoff. This doesn't deserve it. There's a lot more titles that deserve it. And not all of you. Some of you are very excited. But I saw the comments when I announced this. And people were like, I can't believe they're doing this before this. And I think we all have a favorite book that we want in absolute format. We all want that book that's like, oh, that for sure deserves the absolute format treatment. So for me, though, I think it's because I'm getting older, maybe, when I had the standard size hardcover, that it was hard to read, man. Like, some of the little tiny panels before I got my readers on, though, progressives, whatever the heck they're called these days. It was tiny font. And that beautiful artwork by Jason Fabok. I think this is my favorite thing he's done. Jeff Johns, of course, writing the story. Is it my favorite Jeff Johns story? Absolutely not. Did it need to be done? No. The Killing Joke to me is like Watchmen, and these books need to just stand alone. Is it worth reading? Sure, absolutely. Is it worth owning in absolute format? Only if you're a fan of the big size, oversized artwork format. And you like Jason Fabok's artwork, right? I mean, that's part of this medium is that it is a visual storytelling medium. So the art does carry the story a lot. Captain Marvel, GENIS-VELL by Peter David Omnibus. Oh, yes. Another Peter David Omnibus that I'm very excited for coming out later this year. Collecting all of the Captain Marvel run he did in 1999. 0 through 35, and then the 25-issue series in, I believe it's 2002. This is, everybody's got a favorite Captain Marvel. So, you have the original Marvel, you have Monica Rambeau, you have the character of Carol Danvers. To me, this was my favorite Captain Marvel. And because we hadn't seen Monica in so long. And of course, it's Peter David, one of my favorite writers, writing this obscure character that was introduced what was he introduced in? I think it was Silver Surfer Annual. Then crossed over with the X-Men because of Fabian Nicieza. So yes, I'm so excited for this one. CODA, the deluxe edition. Oh my gosh, finally from Boom Studios, a book. I have the trade paperbacks and I was gonna put them in my hidden gems. Why haven't I yet? They're beautiful, but now they're coming out in deluxe edition format. The first 12 issues coming out in June. I can't wait to have this in my hands. It is a beautiful book. It is written by Cy Spurrier, so it feels like you're just thrown in the middle of nowhere. It doesn't make any sense, but it does. As you go and read the story, things start making sense. He is an amazing writer, and Matthias Bergara's artwork is beautiful in this. A fantasy type of book, and look at that cover. I can't wait to have this. Really surprised that they put this into the catalog all the way in June, but I'm excited for it. Uncanny X-Men Omnibus Volume 5. First thing I gotta say is we did it. We were able to ask Marvel to talk them into mapping this one right up to Mutant Massacre. No, it does not include the X Factor issues, but at this point, I'm okay with the additions of those 2 issues that you can have right up to the Mutant Massacre. So we have everything from the X-Men, this is insane, to Age of Apocalypse in omnibus and in oversized hardcover format. Of course, some of those books are out of print, so hopefully some will be reprinted for new readers. Now, this moment, I just want to remind you all to check out our sponsor.
If you're in Europe and you're interested in buying these books, definitely check out Walt's Comic Shop in Berlin, Germany. They have the cheapest pre-order prices, flat shipping rate of €12 for all EU countries, emails answered within 24 hours, waltscomicshop.com, and you can use the code Near Mint Condition at checkout and get free shipping for all EU countries with your first order over €40. That's Walt's Comic Shop, your reliable source for omnis and premium collected editions in Europe. Ding!
Absolute Dark Knight's Death Metal, coming out in June. These are beautiful books, and the amount of time and love they're putting into these absolute formats, like the last 3 that came out, they're gorgeous. And this one's only 288 pages, and it is $100, so that's a pricey book. It's only 7 issues, and it's not the whole event. Much like Dark Knight's Metal, it's not the event. Not everything. Well, I'm sorry, it's the main miniseries, but it's not the crossover event. I'm assuming there will be an omnibus one day of that. I'm not sure. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the IDW Collection, Volume 15. Had to be on the list. Collecting the TMNT 113 to 124 and the Janika second miniseries. By now, Sophie Campbell has taken over the book. I'm just glad these are they're still coming out. I'm really surprised they did not renumber it again with a Volume 1, starting with Volume 14, like Volume 13 being the end of the Eastman and Watts collaboration, but this new era calling it the Sophie Campbell era. So I'm glad they're continuing Volume 15. It makes me happy, and I hope they keep making them because they are beautiful books. The Scumbag Complete Edition hardcover. This is a Rick Remender book. Roland Boschke is the artist, and this collects the 14-issue series. And one that the colors is what blew me away on this collection, or the cover of the trade paperback. So cover here looks awesome too, and very colorful. That one is due out in June. Jeff Loeb and Tim Sale's Spider-Man Gallery Edition. You know, we lost Tim Sale in 2022, and it was, you know, for a lot of us, like, and by the way, I'm only putting one cover, but I decided to choose the direct market cover here. Is beautiful. Not that there's anything wrong with the standard edition cover. I just love that cover. So this collects the 6-issue miniseries, and it's hard when you lose an artist like that because, you know, yes, there are other artists that have that style, but it's just not the same. It's like when we lose a vocalist or, you know, a musician. It just doesn't sound the same or feel the same. So I'm glad that both Marvel and, you'll see here in a little bit, DC are releasing books that have Tim Sale's artwork finally in big, beautiful editions, because this rightly deserves it. There was an omnibus and an oversized hardcover, and I hope they continue this tradition of Jeff Loeb and Tim Sale in gallery editions, because his art deserves it. At least to me, he's one of my favorites. And speaking of art and what's lacking art, so this is just a placeholder, is Vinland Saga Deluxe Edition Volume 1. That's all the information I have. I don't have, well, I'm sorry, it's $49.99, but it is published by Kodansha. So I don't know the dimensions of it. There are no dimensions here. Based on the price, I assume, I mean, Vinland Saga was 2-in-1. I assume this is going to be 3-in-1. Makoto Yukimura's Vinland Saga is now coming out in Deluxe Edition. The fact that they're calling it a Deluxe Edition makes me happy. They see how well Dark Horse is doing with Berserk, Hellsing, Blade of the Immortal. So why not other publishers cash in on that? I mean, a lot of these books deserve it. Stay tuned on my channel. This year, I'm doing my top 10 most wanted manga in Deluxe Edition. Immortal Hulk Omnibus. This is a big one, baby. And on top of that, they agreed to add Gamma Flight miniseries. I'm sorry if you thought the book was already big enough. We like them fatter here, baby. So, yeah, we asked them. Marvel said, okay, sure. So not only does this collect the entire run or the things that I announced when I did the breaking news, but they added Gamma Flight to this. Gosh, 1,592 pages. Still not as big as AVX. AVX, I think, still has that one beat. This one's $150, but it's everything. Spy Superb by Matt Kent, illustrated by Charlene Kent. So this is one that I think was a Kickstarter, and some people have already got it, but this is the one that's officially coming out from Dark Horse Comics, 144 pages, $39.99. I'm a fan of Matt Kent. I really liked Mind Management. Revolver was one of my top 10 favorite standalone graphic novels, so definitely can't wait to read that one. Next up, yes, Deadly Class. Deluxe Edition Volume 4, collecting issues 45 through 56, wrapping up that series. Oh man, it's been one hell of a ride. It's a bunch of kids go to an assassin school, and not all of them make it, so don't fall in love with characters. It's very Game of Thrones-ish in that way if you've not read it. Oh, I've stayed away from it. I got the trade paperback that collects the 45 through 50, I think. And then I stopped, and I'm like, I'm just going to wait till the Deluxe Edition. So I have no idea how this is going to end, but this is the final volume. One last time, Wes Craig doing the artwork, taking place in the 80s. What a great time, the 80s. Absolute Superman for all seasons. Yeah. Coming in August. Not only is it just the 4-issue miniseries, but they also have stories from Superman 26, which were both Jeff Loeb and Tim Sale. Or 226, I'm sorry. Superman Batman 26 is the Jeff Loeb, Tim Sale collaboration. Solo number 1, and then the Secret Files 2003. Finally, Rightly deserves a big oversized treatment. Beautiful book, one of my most wanted absolute editions. Righteous Thirst for Vengeance Deluxe Edition. This is a hardcover published by Image Comics, collecting all 11 issues of this book by Rick Remender and Andre Lima Araujo. You may have seen his artwork when I talked about Generation Gone. That was one of my hidden gems. Of course, Rick Remender. So I assume both this and Scumbag are going to be in oversized library editions like his previous books have been. But this, I have no idea what this is about. All I know is it's Rick Remender, and that's all I need to know about that particular book. Next up is Batman Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Omnibus. Yes, I realized this has been canceled and moved into the catalog again. 576 pages, $100, collecting Ninja Turtles, or Batman Ninja Turtles series 1 and 2 and 3. So it's all in there. Hopefully this time around it will come out. Spider-Man Brand New Day Omnibus Volume 1, one of my most wanted Omnis, finally coming out. I know it's been up for pre-order already, so hopefully it will not get shifted into the schedule. This is the brain trust of Dan Slott, people like Zeb Wells, and Bob Gale, Mark Waid coming in and writing Spider-Man in a weekly format, and we are getting it in Volume 1. Hopefully this will give us future volumes, and eventually the Dan Slott era. Big time, I guess. Next up is, Wolverine Omnibus Volume 4. 100%. Taking us all the way to issue 75. Still Larry Hama writing it by now. Adam Kubert comes in. But before him is Mark Teixeira and Dwayne Turner doing some of the artwork in here. But all those little one-shots are going to be collected in here. Yes, all day, every day. It's Wolverine. It's my favorite character. Of course, I'm going to say yes. I had to put that on the list. My Volume 3 overview will be out on Monday, by the way, for people that have been wanting. And I'll be doing a premiere video, like watching it along with you all. That was a lot of fun when we did that. So that will be Monday at 11:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Next up on the list is Batman and Joker, The Deadly Duo, Deluxe Edition. So it's a Deluxe Edition. Mark Silvestri writing it, Mark Silvestri drawing it. Mark Silvestri drawing Batman and the Joker. Oh, yes. Oh, gosh, yeah. This one's 208 pages and retails for $29.99 and Deluxe Edition, meaning that it's oversized. Which is funny because when I interviewed Mark Silvestri, he is not a fan of Deluxe Editions. He wants the comic books to be released in the same size that the comic books were released, the single issues. I wonder how he feels about that one. And to wrap up my list, by the way, it was 31. I didn't know who was counting, but if you made it this far, good on you. Ghost Rider Epic Collection Vengeance Reborn. That was a book that Curtis and I just announced yesterday. Marvel was kind enough to send me the art and, of course, or the cover, rather, and, of course, the content. So this is the Danny Ketch era. It might not be an omnibus, but it's a damn good start. Collecting the first 12 issues, plus Mark Spector Moon Knight 25, Doctor Strange Sorcerer Supreme 28, and then the material for Marvel Comics Presents that is needed in there. Yes, all day, every day. This is my Ghost Rider. Hopefully we'll get an omnibus one day, but this is a great start. Now, if you're interested in purchasing some of these books, don't forget to pre-order them from our sponsor here in America. CheapGraphicNovels.com, your online home for graphic novels and collected editions up to 50% off cover price. They have excellent shipping and prompt and helpful service. Check out their bargain deals for up to 90% off cover price. And don't forget, the CGN also takes pre-orders. That way you don't miss out on the hottest releases. And they are currently running a special promotion for you Minties. If you're a first-time customer, after receiving your order confirmation email, reply back to that email and let them know Near Mint Condition sent you their way. They will then apply a free shipping promotional credit to your next order in the US. Cheap Graphic Novels, your source for the hottest books with the kind of deep discount, quality shipping, and customer service that will keep you coming back for more. And that was my top 30. Nay, top 31. Snuck one in there. Had to. I had it up to 50 and I'm like, no. That is, nobody wants to hear me go on that long. Let's just stop at 30. Then I'm like, okay, maybe they won't notice if I just sneak one more in there. But if you're keeping count, there was 31 in there. But that's it. I would love to know what your top 10, top 20, top 30, top 50, you know what, write as much as you want to in the comments section. If you have any questions, leave them down there in the comments section. I just want to thank you all for joining me. This is a lot of fun to put together. It's one of my favorite times of year, like where I get excited about books that are coming out later. Looking forward to these things that I love so much. Thank you so much to our patrons for making videos like this possible. Could not be doing this without you all. But that's it, everyone. I'll see you again tomorrow, but I'll see you again in about 6 months when I do this again. Talk about the books I'm excited for the rest of 2023. Everyone stay healthy and safe out there. Much love. Why am I giving you the thumbs up? You deserve it. 2 of them.